On May 8, 1902, the Caribbean island of Martinique awoke to a clear morning. In the city of Saint-Pierre, life bustled as usual, streets filled with carriages, market stalls overflowed with tropical fruit, and ships lay anchored in the harbor. But looming above the city stood Mount Pelée, a volcano restless and rumbling for weeks. At 8:02 a.m., it unleashed one of the deadliest eruptions in recorded history. In less than 3 minutes, Saint-Pierre, the Paris of the Caribbean, was gone. At the dawn of the 20th century, Saint-Pierre was the cultural and economic heart of Martinique. With nearly 30,000 inhabitants, it was a city of theaters, cafes, and elegant French architecture. Wealthy merchants lived in stone houses along cobblestone streets, while ships from Europe and the Americas docked daily with goods. To visitors, it was a paradise, sophisticated, vibrant, and utterly alive. Yet the city was built in the shadow of Mount Pelée, a volcano that had not erupted violently for centuries. For generations, its slopes, rich in volcanic soil, provided fertile ground for sugarcane and coffee. Few residents worried about the occasional smoke rising from its peak. Pelée was part of the landscape, a silent guardian. Or so they thought. In April 1902, Pelée stirred. Ash began to fall on plantations. Earth tremors rattled windows. Animals grew restless. Snakes and insects poured down from the mountainsides, invading villages. A foul smell of sulfur hung in the air. Scientists and journalists debated what was happening. Some warned of danger, but local authorities assured citizens there was no cause for alarm. With elections approaching, officials feared panic and insisted the city was safe. Evacuation was discouraged, and residents who considered leaving were told they had nothing to fear. At dawn on May 8, church bells rang across Saint-Pierre. It was Ascension Day, and thousands prepared for Mass. Suddenly, Mount Pelée's summit split open. A glowing cloud, hotter than any furnace, burst forth. It was not a lava flow but a pyroclastic surge, a hurricane of fire, ash, and toxic gases racing downhill at over 100 miles per hour. In less than a minute, the burning avalanche slammed into Saint-Pierre. Wooden houses exploded into flames. Stone walls cracked under the heat. People were incinerated instantly where they stood, their bodies frozen in place. The harbor, filled with ships, erupted in chaos as vessels caught fire and capsized. Witnesses aboard ships farther out at sea saw the city vanish beneath a rolling black cloud. By 8:05 a.m., Saint-Pierre no longer existed. Nearly 30,000 people were dead, one of the highest death tolls ever recorded in a volcanic eruption. The destruction was so complete that rescue workers arriving days later found only charred ruins, twisted iron, and silence. The Paris of the Caribbean had become a graveyard. And yet, against all odds, there were survivors. The most famous was Ludger Silberis, a prisoner locked in a thick-walled stone cell. Protected from the full force of the heat and gas, he emerged badly burned but alive. His testimony would later give the world a first-hand account of the apocalypse. News of the disaster spread rapidly across the globe. Newspapers printed haunting sketches of the destroyed city. Scientists traveled to Martinique, trying to understand the terrifying new phenomenon of pyroclastic flows. For many, Pelée became a symbol of nature's unstoppable power and humanity's tragic arrogance in ignoring warnings. France mourned the loss of its colonial jewel, and Saint-Pierre was never rebuilt to its former glory. Survivors relocated to nearby towns, while Pelée continued to fume and erupt sporadically for months. The eruption of Mount Pelée was more than a natural disaster, it was a turning point in volcanology. Scientists began to study pyroclastic surges, recognizing their speed and lethality. The tragedy reshaped how communities viewed the risks of living near volcanoes. But for the people of Martinique, it was personal. Families were erased in seconds, and a thriving city was reduced to ash. Today, Saint-Pierre is a quiet town, its ruins preserved as a memorial to the tens of thousands who perished on that morning in 1902. The eruption of Mount Pelée remains one of history's most legendary catastrophes. In just 3 minutes, a paradise city was turned to dust, a reminder that beneath beauty can lurk unimaginable danger. Saint-Pierre's fate teaches us that nature, however silent, never forgets its power, and when it awakens, the results can be apocalyptic.